Welcome to Doom. An intense story game all about slaying demons, upgrading our gear, and fighting our way through literal hell. And even though I have never interacted with a single piece of Doom media before, you are going to see me 100% Doom all on Nightmare difficulty. But before starting, just like always, if you enjoy yourself, then don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already, as it is always appreciated. And if you would like more, then make sure to check out the description for our Discord and Twitch, where we stream each one of these games. And without further ado, let's get right into this. Waking up from a slumber, we got right into the action, fighting our way out of a coffin. Our first form of defense was a pistol that we found on the ground to clear out the demons that activated a hologram about a woman named Olivia who seemed pretty concerned about keeping us contained. Although nothing about us could be contained now that we've got our hands on the all-powerful Praetor suit. But continuing forward, we were a little blind on information because of the satellite communications being down. So repairing that turned out to become our first mission. While moving towards that, I discovered the best part of this game with glory kills. Finishers that you can execute on enemies when they entered a staggered state after taking enough damage. And I love doing it. Another thing to add is that glory kills will drop a lot more necessary health. And following that, we found our second weapon with the combat shotgun, a super satisfying weapon that packs a huge punch up close and could use it to bring us into the next area, which puts us in a good position to go over all the enemies. You have the basic demons who can almost be one shot in most cases, these little fireball imp guys who one shot you, lightning laser gunners who one shot you, real big and real tanky brutes who one shot you. I'm sure you get the point by now. The difficulty really shows almost instantly. As to progress, we have to take care of this gore nest, which will spawn a few waves of enemies. Not only did I take my first death here, but my first 7. And just for some added fun, we also got a death counter started up to keep track of our journey until the end. Giving it some time though, we eventually took care of the last imp and made it through the door, where Olivia once again stated that interference would be detrimental. So it's too bad for her that the elevator doors were already opened up for us and bringing us onto the surface of Mars. Up here we could begin finding new things like data logs and action figures, both of which we would have to collect every single one of for achievements. But thankfully it's not a wild goose chase, as if you get close enough to them, items will actually be revealed on the map. And with learning that information, we continued down our path and cleared out the next zone, where we came across our first actual obstacle. Some doors will only allow access if you can find their respective key cards around the map to get them opened. And as a reward for my extremely strategic mind, we unlocked the frag grenade, a utility that has so much potential if used properly. Using it led me to my first combat support drone, a little shop where I can unlock weapon mods to make my gun stronger. For my first choice, I went for the charge burst, which allows me to charge up 3 jolt attacks for some high and powerful damage. In addition, we also found our first elite guard to collect a Praetor suit token that could be used to give some upgrades to our armor, although deaths were still plenty when trying to clear out each area. Okay, you know, I think we're getting the hang of this now. Oh shit! God damn it! I thought I was playing Minecraft. I pressed control to sprint. So to regain my honor for such a shameful death, I finished off the last of the enemies and could completely make it through the first level. Entering the second level unlocked a new mechanic with challenges, specific goals on every single level to do for some tokens, which can be used to upgrade weapon mods to a really strong degree. Plus, we also made it to the end of the facility in order to ready up the satellite again, as well as getting our first live message from Olivia that she intends to open a portal between us and hell so that demons can take over our world. When on the way to stop her, we found our next weapon with the chainsaw, and I was so excited to find this, as almost immediately from the start I really wanted a melee weapon. But imagine my sadness when I find out this isn't really a weapon and more of a utility instead. While it does make for some good free kills, its main use is making enemies drop a ton of ammo. I'm assuming I really want to run into it. Oh fuck! Moving on from that little slip up, we found our next gore nest, which I happily took pleasure in completely clearing out. Doing so, we could continue the path to our next drone for the explosive mod, which was way better, as it pretty much gave us a grenade launcher that instantly staggered most enemies for a free glory kill. With it, we can not only find the yellow key card, but also our next weapon with the heavy AR, which really filled in the gap of long range damage that we have been lacking. Although this weapon and another in the future just had some huge ammo problems, but at least it led to something that couldn't be more perfect. What the hell is this? Oh my god! There's quite a few power-ups in this game, but they don't even matter because Berserk is just so ungodly fun and definitely just made me want that melee weapon even more. Because of it, we easily made it to the satellite's control panels so that we could fully power it up. But in doing so, we found ourselves a new shield enemy that has an insane amount of durability. Damn. What the hell? With a few attempts, I could eventually make it into the next location. While in here, we ended up getting the achievement for performing 200 glory kills, and 2,000 more will definitely be seen down the line. We also found our next resource in Argent Energy. With it, we can actually start leveling up some stats with health, armor, and ammo, as I started with health to grow a little bit tankier. But no amount of health could save me for what was easily the worst level in the entire game. We did at least have a good start by unlocking micro missiles for the AR, but so many pathways in the forge were blocked off by key cards, and one even guarded by fingerprints. But this right here was easily the worst part. To start, it's another fight with the shield guys, which we barely made it through after a few attempts, but like most other fights, the game saved right after. So I grabbed my yellow key card, and when heading out, we were introduced to more enemies and this new big brute who was so hard to kill while also dealing with everything else and caused multiple deaths to happen. And once I did finally manage to kill it, we had other enemies like more shields. But after so many attempts, we could finally defeat everyone, just to die a little bit later because of a bad jump, and then find out that the game didn't save after the fight and forces it to redo it after every single one of my numerous deaths. It got so annoying being sent back to that fight that I did something that I almost never do and started taking the game slowly until it saved. I was able to find another gore nest here and fight my way through it, and by the skin of my teeth take it out and thankfully have the game save. And with a little more freedom to explore around now, I used the yellow card to unlock another pathway, one which did not last long once again, but this time it was actually a good thing as I completely missed our next weapon with the pulse rifle. The best way to describe this weapon is as an underdog. I honestly hated this thing and only used it if I actually had to right now, but with some practice and upgrades, it would eventually become one of the best in my arsenal. While using it, we actually found another gore nest, and just like before, I had a pretty easy time clearing it out and claiming the blue key card, once again leading us to a third gore nest to swiftly take care of, and after ages of looking, could find the correct worker that had the fingerprints to open up the last nest to easily be taken care of once again. But the suffering of the forge was not yet over, as now we had the most time-consuming fight ahead of us. You're joking! The biggest problem in the fight came in the two really long waves, meaning every single death was a span of multiple minutes from the last. And no matter how many attempts I was giving it, it would just get too overwhelming in the end. But with help from a viewer, there is in fact a second hidden weapon in the forge with the RPG. This thing was insane when it came to dealing with the big guys and allowed us to take them down in only a few shots. And only a little after we found it, we could finally make it through and completely finish the forge, where we got to meet face to face with Olivia. And because of her, the outside was not looking too hot, with a literal portal from hell opening up. But a little turn in another direction, I wanted to talk with y'all about Discord while I look for the path forward. If you haven't joined it yet, then I really do encourage you to do so, because not only will you get to hang out with an amazing community, you will also always get updates whenever anything happens. But if you're just like me and you like to just lurk in servers, and then there's also something for you, as after every single game I finish, I always hold a vote for people to decide on what game gets to be done for our next 100%, and getting to join the vote is completely free. Although people who do go out of their way to support me by subbing on Twitch or becoming a member on YouTube are allowed to have an extra vote of your choosing. So if having a hand in the content you see next on this channel sounds interesting to you, then I very much hope to see you there. Thank you for listening, and let's get right back into this. While pushing ahead, we found our first of many rune trials. Pretty much little mini games that give you some time-based objectives, and on completion we get the achievement for collecting our first rune. Runes that can be equipped to give you passive abilities, with some good ones being armor on glory kills, extra movement, and enemies dropping more ammo. These can also be leveled up through random requirements for each one. Oh, god damn it, dude. Oh, I lived! Our new objective though was to deal with some more gore nests that were protecting these argent filters that helped to power up the portal to hell. So we made our way through the level to destroy all of the other ones, and while doing so also ended up finding another secret area letting us claim the super shotgun. And as the name implies, this gun fucks. It was easily the best gun we found in the entire game, with the only downside being the one shot it has before reloading. But this is also when we met the summoner enemy type. If left unchecked, they can summon so many enemies to overwhelm the hell out of you. And yes, they are also capable of a one shot. On the plus side, I was able to level up the first rune we collected and also find another support drone for the lock on burst mod, a crazy RPG mod that allows us to lock onto an enemy and rapidly shoot 3 missiles at them, which just shredded health. We also got to use Berserk some more. Nothing important with this, it's just really fun to use. And once we finished up everything here, we got the report that Olivia actually has a way to manually open the portal back up at the top of the tower. So knowing that, it was time for us to start storming the tower. In here, we could pick up the heat blast mod for the plasma rifle. Now while shooting, we can build up heat that can then be ejected all around us. And this is what really puts the plasma rifle up there in the big leagues for me. We also found our next big utility with the thrust boots. The only kind of movement ability in this entire game, and it is probably the weakest double jump I have ever experienced. Thankfully later on there is a rune to make it a little bit better, but with them we could at least make it past some larger jumps to catch back up to Olivia, where we followed her into the tower. The very first interaction here was staged like our first huge boss fight, and I have been waiting to do one. But turns out that these blobs are just another new enemy type that are pretty tanky but only actually threatening up close. After clearing everything out, we had to actually scale the tower to the top. But now's probably a good time to mention that I am so ass at traversing vertical levels in this game. Something about them just really confuses me. But eventually I pulled together all of my strength to make it to the top and finally met Olivia face to face with nothing standing between us. But my raw masculine energy was just too much for her as she hopped into the skybeam instead of facing us. And being in close proximity, we ourselves were also pulled into the portal and landed foot in hell itself, where now instead of control panels we have skull buttons, instead of yellow key cards we have yellow skulls and spooky skull doors to open up. But you better remember where it is we are. In hell, we also found our next weapon with the Gauss cannon, another plasma based weapon but having some extreme damage like the RPG, although even its strength couldn't save us from this next room. So many summoners end up spawning, and because of their high health and tendency to teleport away, it meant they had free reign to make the fight look like this because of how many enemies they spawn in. But finally, after 15 total attempts, we could make it through everything and claim the blue skull for our own. Oh, it's this guy. I know him from that boom boom boom, that one meme. You know what I'm talking about? Now back on topic, we could find our next few handfuls of Argent energy and use it to fully level up our ammo for our next achievement. And right after, the game for some reason completely ignored which suit slot I upgraded and actually fully upgraded my map scanning category for our next achievement. While I didn't want it, it actually became super useful, as now hidden items will always be revealed on the map to be collected. We also got our first mod for the Gauss cannon with the precision shot that allows us to charge up some devastating damage for the bigger enemies. And with that, we approach the end of our first visit to hell with the red room. And if you're wondering, no, I am not editing the video to make it look like this. But regardless, even with the intimidating appearance and stronger enemies, the Gauss cannon made short work of everything in just a few attempts. And within those attempts, we also unlocked our first weapon mastery for the grenade launcher. Masteries can be worked towards once you fully upgrade a weapons mod by doing specific things. For the grenade launcher, we needed to get 20 direct hit kills, and all masteries also unlock new abilities. Like now, when landing a direct hit, our grenade will turn into a cluster bomb for even more damage. But fighting our way through hell, we were actually back on the Mars base that was now completely overrun by demons. But I just gotta say that these hell portals look so good in this game. It's too bad it won't be sticking around for long though, because we have found our last weapon with a damn minigun. As you can assume, this thing just shreds its way through enemies. But just like the AR, it's another weapon that just chews through your ammo like there's no tomorrow. So using it consistently was a little bit hard. But while here, we could complete the challenges of collecting 3 different data logs, killing a revenant while it's midair, and also using the chainsaw on 5 different enemies to give us the achievement for finishing all challenges in a level. Oh, that was easy. You're such a... Oh my god! Unstunned so fast. Because of that, we had to throw a few more deaths at the wall before we got to continue. Oh, but it got so much worse because we met our last enemy type with the Pinky. These guys have an extreme amount of damage reduction from the front side, taking 7 charge Gauss shots to kill. They do have a weak spot on their back that you think would be easy to hit because their primary attack being a charge, but this thing's hitbox is just absurd. Sometimes I'd shoot its back and it would still get the damage reduction somehow. Anytime I saw them just filled me with unbridled rage. But at least executing a glory kill on one, we could get the achievement for glory killing every single common enemy and could be on our way to the Lazarus Labs. Almost instantly while here, we could get another achievement by chainsawing 50 enemies and also find another berserk, which, oh my god, just makes me want to find a melee weapon soon. Clearing everything out though, we gotta have our first meeting with Dr. Samuel, a robot who's actually been guiding us through on what to do to stop Olivia. He told us about a relic that she's been hiding away that'll hold all of our answers. But while looking for it, we found another highly guarded room with a fake floor and lasers. We could actually use set lasers to our advantage and burst open the capsule to claim the BFG, an absolute mega weapon, but kind of like the chainsaw is more of a utility that works better in specific situations. But the enjoyment of something new would not last long as we faced another terrible area. It all started with the bane of my existence from the Pinkies, but at least that was simple enough to deal with after a few tries to make our way through quickly. It was then followed up with a gore nest that spawned wave after wave of huge, overwhelming enemies that took death after death after death after death to finally complete. And right after, we had 2 Barons of Hell to compete with in a tiny little room that could of course also one-shot us. But get this, between these 3 separate fights, the game doesn't save once, and we're sent to do it all over again where we die even more. We restarted so often that we unlocked the super shotguns mastery by killing multiple enemies with one shot 30 different times, which now allowed us to shoot the gun twice before reloading, which was really nice, and also got the achievement for getting 100 explosive barrel kills. And after ages of more dying, I could get back to the Barons and finally remember to use my resources and just obliterated them with the BFG. At least with that victory, we could make our way inside of the portal room. On our way down, we got the mobile turret mod for the minigun, which made this thing so much better. It will overheat now, but it does have the capability of defeating even the strongest enemies with one burst if you hit all of your shots. We could also obtain our next achievement by getting 150 kills while using a power-up, and get the heat blast mastery by killing multiple enemies with one blast 20 different times, which now allows us to build up heat without needing to shoot. But none of that mattered compared to powering down the portal, and finally, after ages of waiting and guessing, we had our very first boss fight with the Cyber Demon. And to be honest, most of the fight kind of looked like this. Yeah, it's safe to say that the boss fights are extremely easy in this game, as we took this thing down first try with no problem. And with the core pulled out of its chest, it actually teleported us back into hell, where it was time for phase 2. But honestly, outside of just one new awkward attack, this entire phase was super easy as well. And just like that, we could claim our achievement for defeating our first of many boss fights to come with extreme ease. But advancing past and through hell once more, we had a new mission to reclaim the Crucible. Even I, a person who knows nothing about Doom, knows what the damn Crucible blade is, and I now couldn't be more excited to finally have a melee weapon. And the hype was only built even more by this game giving me Berserk to play with on the way there. Each floor, the enemies that we cleared out only got me closer to my beautiful weapon. But while on the way, we did find our very last Argent Energy, and with it could fully upgrade our health, armor, and ammo maximum. We also got our Micro Missiles mastery by sticking multiple enemies at once, and our Burst Shotgun mastery right after by killing these blobs with it. And just because we don't really use any other weapons, I'll stop going over what the mastery actually does. But there it was, our Crucible blade right in front of us. It was just one boss fight away from becoming ours. The Guardian was a little weird because of its shield that blocked all damage, and also some very fast and pretty surprising attacks that took us out a few times. But pretty quickly I was able to learn everything it would do and make it past phase 1. Phase 2 actually included 2 Guardians, one with the offensive and the other with defensive attacks. A little bit intimidating at first, but for some reason one of them wasn't even really doing anything, while at the same time kind of acting as a shield for me against the other one, as I just whittled it down over time without a single problem to finish it off. With the second one already being really low on health, we were able to easily finish off phase 2 on our first attempt and claim our next achievement. But finally, a melee weapon was in our grasp after all of this time to start cutting through anything that stood in our way. And well, there was an instant worry whenever the handle did not extend into the sword that we've been waiting for. And just imagine my complete and utter disappointment when I look through the controls and there isn't a single Crucible input anywhere. Depressed and defeated, we continued forward to see what might happen in the future. Entering our next facility, we had to disable the supercomputer known as Vega that was protecting some of Olivia's secrets. To do so, all we needed to do was destroy all of its cooling units that have kept it alive. But while doing so, I also got the RPG lock-on mastery for killing summoners with it. But without its cooling units, we could easily overload Vega and get sent back into hell once more, which immediately started off with Berserk just to rub it in our face some more. But with the Crucible hilt, we could get through a few fights and disable the power to escape hell from within hell itself. But we weren't done yet, as it was time for Olivia to meet her end. Shockingly, she was lied to by demons, and because of that she was turned into a demon as well in subsequently our next boss fight. The attacks were pretty simple to avoid, and to be honest, pretty weak as well. But without any warding, she has an attack that electrocutes the entire floor, which very quickly kills us. But being ready for it on the second attempt, it was not much of a problem this time. That's it. Maybe no phase 2. Oh, wait, that's a campaign? That's the end? And with a very sudden conclusion, we got one last monologue from Samuel, and of course he gets to use the Crucible blade and we didn't, as the story comes to an end after a total of 175 deaths. But alas, even though we have finished the story, we still have a lot more stuff in the campaign to finish up, like collecting the 11 other toys that we missed to collect all 26 of them, finding the remaining 3 data logs to collect all of them, and also found our last drone to collect every weapon mod. And with every weapon mod now unlocked, we now needed every weapon mastery, which included getting 15 headshots with the pistol, 50 headshot kills with the scoped AR, killing 4 enemies with 1 mobile turret burst 5 different times, killing 5 enemies in 5 seconds with the rotor, killing 30 enemies while stunned from the stun grenade, killing 3 enemies with 1 rocket 15 times with remote detonation, and to finish it off, also killing 3 enemies with 1 Gauss shot 10 times to unlock every single weapon mod. But we are not done there yet, as we also needed to go back and complete every challenge by finding 3 secret areas, finding 2 collectibles, curb stopping 5 enemies, blowing up 3 enemies at once with a barrel, curb stopping 2 Hell Knights, downloading a specific map data, finding 3 more secret areas, sweep 4 Hellraiser legs, snap 5 demon necks, kill 8 enemies at once, play a game of demon destruction, kill 20 enemies while powered up, curb stomp a Baron of Hell, kill 2 big eyeball guys at once, get 10 barrel kills, kill a blob with the pistol, chainsaw an eyeball guy, get 25 BFG kills, find 3 more secret areas, and to finish it off, kill 2 Barons of Hell at once to complete every single challenge on every level. While doing that, we have also been picking up Praetor suit tokens from the elite guards to allow us to fully upgrade each category of the Praetor suit, and also upgraded all 12 of the runes in the game. But to upgrade all the runes, we obviously need to collect all of the runes, which we did do, but for some reason the game didn't actually give us the achievement. So it was time to completely restart the story and spend about the next 4 hours replaying the game and collecting all the runes in one sitting, which thankfully worked this time for the achievement. But we still aren't done with story mode just yet. Completing nightmare mode allowed us to unlock Ultra Nightmare. We had to complete just the first mission on this even harder difficulty, which doesn't seem too hard. My game plan going into this was just to use all my resources and play as slow as I could. And with that, I was actually able to complete it in only 3 attempts and claim the achievement for our own. But the entire time there was one main stress in the back of my mind. Oh shit, you know what I just realized? If I die, I probably have to restart. I don't know, it did say checkpoint saved, or checkpoint reached, so maybe not. So just to test it out, I let myself die in the next level, and death does in fact mean you have to restart from the beginning. So thank God I was able to get this down pretty easily. With that, we are all finished up with the story mode achievements and can now move on to the multiplayer section. Just one problem: no one plays online anymore. I sat here for about 7 minutes, and I know that isn't too long, but only 2 people joined, both of which left pretty quickly after joining. I mean, go figure, the game is almost 10 years old, and there are 2 other entries that are also newer. But even if I did get into a game, there are so many achievements that I need, meaning I would have to sit and wait in so many queues for who knows how long. And with that, I decided that the multiplayer achievements would just be unobtainable without outside help. So it was time to instead move on to snap maps, a pretty cool addition that lets people create and publish their own maps. Although I was instantly skeptical it would still work, as opening it would not only force close my game, but also restart my stream. Something that I am pretty positive has never happened before in my 5 years of streaming. And to follow all of that, we then had some crazy long load times. But at least once loading in, we had a few options to pick from as I went right to creating my own map. But to do so, I started by completing the 4 basic and then right after the 8 advanced tutorials to get the achievement for completing the snap map tutorials. With that, we were free to now publish our own map. Or so I thought so, because anytime I tried, I was hit with the message that the Doom services are now offline. I actually tried to do it again to make another map, but for some reason was completely stuck on the screen no matter what I did, and had to force quit the game with task managers so that I could get off of the screen. At least we could still play other players' creations. So for our last snap map achievement, I went through and played 5 different maps that people had made, and for some reason encountered another achievement that does not work. So with one last option, it was time for something that did work with the arcade mode. mode. Arcade has you replay through specific levels of the campaign, but this time you earn points through getting kills while also building a multiplier, with the highest multiplier being 32 times. There are also these mines that you can blow up to kill the surrounding area of enemies and also collect relics from, which give you a bigger chunk of points. And with just a few attempts, we could collect the achievement for collecting 20 relics in arcade mode and also achieving a gold or higher rating at the end of the level. And that just left one more achievement, the rarest achievement in the game. In arcade mode, there are medals, and you get medals through doing specific tasks. But we now need to collect every single medal type in one attempt. The requirements are performing a glory kill, performing a curb stomp, hitting all 3 shots from the shotgun burst, getting a direct hit with the grenade launcher, killing an enemy while it's stunned, collecting an extra life, killing an enemy while it's airborne, getting a headshot kill, collecting the bronze, silver, and gold relics, getting a multi-kill by killing 3 enemies in quick succession, getting a barrel kill, performing a super kill by killing 5 enemies in quick succession, and finishing it all off by reaching a bronze rating. Shockingly, a very easy achievement that we completed on our first try. But with that, the 20 multiplayer achievements and the 2 snap map achievements that are no longer doable, that is how we have 59%ed Doom 2016. For my very first Doom experience, this game was so much fun getting to play through. Thank you to everyone who watched all the way to the end of the video. As always, if you enjoyed, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you would like more, then make sure you check out our other videos on the channel, and make sure to stop by our Twitch and our Discord. Thank you all again for watching, and I hope that you all have an amazing day.